direction, so we're losing all attention. They don't know I'm in contention, cause I'm gaining their attention, cause I'm making a connection. Lyricism and aggression got me feeling my ascension. In my passion, my profession, I'm attacking my obsession, taking action and progressing. I go off on the enemy, that's what makes them scared of me. Make my plans carefully, then execute them daringly. They say I act recklessly, but that's why I'm effective. See, you can't predict my tendencies, I offer no transparency. Some people think I'm lost, others think I'll be a legend. I'm never gonna stop till I'm one above second. And my thoughts at the top, but my mind stay present. Don't let your dreams stop, cause dreaming is a blessing.
They tell me all the same, told me I won't make a name, but it's not about the fame, it's about keeping me sane. So I stay within my lane, feel my blood pump through my veins, feel adrenaline, no pain, welcome all to my domain. So let me break it all down for you.
I ain't never giving up, I ain't never
You know
giving
I'm
up.
taking that crown from you.
I ain't worried about you, I ain't never
So let me break it all down for you.
I ain't never giving up, I ain't never
You know
giving
I'm
up.
taking that crown from you.
I ain't worried about you, I ain't never
So let me break it all down for you.
I ain't never giving up, I ain't never
You know
giving
I'm
up.
taking that crown from you.
I ain't worried about you, I ain't never
So let me
break.
break it all down for you.
I ain't never giving up, I ain't never
You know
giving
I'm
up.
taking that crown from you.
I ain't worried about you, I ain't need to make friends.
Wake up, early mornings, late nights, hopping on a different flight. What's the meaning of life, ayy? Wake up, same-ish, different day. Make a wish, call it pray. Am I sick, am I okay, ayy? Stay up, late nights, still in pain. In my mind, it decays as I try to make a change. See the sun, see it set, feel some pain, feel regret. All the same, what is next? I'm to blame for my head, Life, it changes in many different ways, yeah. You turn the page and you see a new day, yeah. Be the same or you go and make a name, yeah. Listen to hate or help someone who's in pain, yeah. We all want love and we all wanna be great, yeah. It's not enough, so we keep running the race, yeah. This life is tough if you let it be that way, yeah. Sit back and love your own journey every day. I got deep thoughts in my bed, got me feeling like a weak spot in my head, and I ask myself to please stop. Take a breath, need to get all of these deep thoughts out my head, yeah. I just wanna be known, I just wanna be home. Feel like I'm all alone and I need to do it on my own. I just wanna be known, I just wanna be home. Feel like I'm all alone and I need to do it on my own, yeah. I live for music, yeah, I love to do it, yeah. It's therapeutic and I needed to get through it, yeah. I keep on moving, yeah, I keep on doing, yeah. I keep improving so people can feel it too and go on and fix their lives one decision at a time, one vision, one mind. We're winning this grind. Okay, let's make each other proud. Turn the future into now, turn this world upside down, yeah. I don't wanna feel the pain no more, I just wanna make a change, restore humanity. The sanity is leaving for the vanity. I plan to be close with my family, substantially avoiding all calamity. Financially stable, it's a fantasy, it's blasphemy. I holler out loud cause I'm crying out in agony, I just wanna help people, yeah. Cause we all just equal, and we all just fearful, those who deceitful, yeah. But if we all just work hard, yeah, and we let down our guards, yeah, we can open up our hearts and figure out how to heal our scars. I got a lot of deep thoughts in my bed, got me feeling like a weak spot in my head, and I ask myself to please stop. Take a breath, need to get all of these deep thoughts out my head, yeah. I just wanna be known, I just wanna be home. Feel like I'm all alone and I need to do it on my own. I just wanna be known, I just wanna be home. Feel like I'm all alone and I need to do it on my own, yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Turn Extension Live. So with us today, we've got Kevin. Kevin, can you say hi?
Hey everybody, just a quick heads up. My headset literally broke 2 days ago, so this is the old dusted headset out of the garage. I'm really quiet. Sorry in advance.
And then also with us, we have a special guest. It is Sam. Sam from my local group. Sam, you want to say hi really quick before I do a full introduction?
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm as we're talking, I am painting my striker. I don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, so we're going to talk about a couple things before we actually get into talking about community building. So first off, I am super excited to announce that anyone who is going to go to PAX Unplugged. So PAX Unplugged is kind of like a smaller version of Gen Con. It is in Philly, Pennsylvania. It is going to be December 2nd to the 4th. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because on December 3rd, it's a Saturday, we are going to be hosting the first, at least I assume it's the first Mark IV convention tournament. It's going to be a 32-person tournament. We're going to do 50-point lists prime. We're going to do one list. And we have spaces for 32 people to go and play. And the goal is to, hey, we're gonna have the new lists, right? We're gonna have at least 2 new armies out, potentially 3, I believe, because Cato should be out by then. So of 3 of the new factions that are out, and we're going to play some games, see how the new steamroller plays out, and kind of go from there, right? We're gonna obviously have a first place medal, and then we're gonna do some random drawings for if you come, you participate. We're going to try to raffle off some stuff. We're going to get a couple things from Privateer Press to try to make this as fun as possible. So if you are in the East Coast area or you're thinking about going to PAX Unplugged anyways, I would highly encourage you to take a look at the Mark IV tournament we're going to be running. It's going to be between Advanced Maneuvers and Tried and True podcasts. We're going to be a joint hosting it to make this as hopefully successful as possible. Yeah, so that's my little pitch for it. Hope you all can make it. If you want any more details, we'll post more stuff up as we go on. I know Tried and True is going to be talking about it on their podcast. It's going to drop on Friday as well. I think I covered everything for that. Kevin, did I miss anything?
No, you didn't miss anything, but I definitely want to give a massive shout out to Tried and True. Like, just a bunch of excellent people. If you haven't seen them and you haven't checked out their YouTube channel, honestly, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you should go out and check out their YouTube channel and like it. They do a lot of content. They're really excited about Mark IV, and just that type of enthusiasm needs to be rewarded with lots and lots of subs.
Yeah, they actually just dropped a video today about Mark IV. So it was like a good 7-minute video about a little intro into Mark IV and a little intro into Warmachine and why Warmachine is different from other miniature model games. So highly suggest looking at them. They do a great job doing podcasts one week, and then the next week they drop battle reports. So love it. Also love it. They're a good Delaware group, so not too far away from us. So yes, huge shout out to Tried and True. All right, so I think I was supposed to cover something else, but I don't remember. So we're going to jump into the cast. So today we are talking about building community hype, right? And I think one way back in the day how we used to do that was we used to have press gangers. Press gangers were really pivotal when they would go into an area and they would go and create excitement about the community, excitement about the game, really build it up, get it going, run steamrollers, run demos. I know I used to do that like 10, 12 years ago whenever Mark II was out. But what we did was we, in my local area, we were really hot and heavy on Mark II. And then when Mark III came around, a lot of the group kind of dissipated, right? We had a lot of good old press gangers up here. And then with the PG program kind of cutting off, a lot of things disappeared. And I want to say probably 2 or 3 years ago, I stumbled across, I can't remember what the app was, but it was a local group here that was starting to play Warmachine again. I think Kevin was the one that told me about it.
Game 4.
What was it?
Game 4.
Game 4, yes, Game 4. And from there, I ended up meeting Sam. So I want to introduce you all to Sam. And Sam, why don't you first off tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, gaming, all that stuff, and how did you first stumble into Warmachine?
All right. So I'm actually fairly new to tabletop wargaming in general. Warmachine is the first game I picked up. It was kind of something that was I was interested in looking into because I was playing with my friend Max. I'm really big into fighting games, and I would go hang out in his basement, and he had these Warhammer models, and I was like, "What are those?" And he's like, "Oh, that game is trash. Don't worry about it." So at that point, I said, "Okay," and I didn't think anything of it. But then about a few weeks later, he mentioned Warmachine. And he was like, "Hey, I remember you were saying you were interested in this. If you are, take a look at this game. This game is much better, it has a much better rule set." And so I did. And I remember scouring YouTube and I'm looking, and of course, who's the first person that comes up? Wargamer Girl. So
Oh,
not advanced maneuvers because you guys didn't come up for whatever reason, because I guess you guys were more on a competitive side. But as I was looking at the game and comparing it back and forth, one thing is that the War Machine aesthetic, it drew me in. I love the art, and I'm not a really big steampunk fan at all. But for some reason, this game just drew me in. And as I started looking more into it, I was like, yeah, I'm all in. So unfortunately, I got in right as COVID hit us. So bought my rep battle box. I finally painted it, had it all built up, and I played maybe 4 or 5 games. And I'm playing in the basement with my buddies Max and Bill, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what can we do to make this game come back, right?
hmm
And I had the suggestion. I'm like, well, instead of playing in my basement, maybe we need to start going out and representing it and playing in the local shops. And then COVID hit. So that was put on the back burner because I had created the Maryland War Machine group on Game for it. And then I started getting a bunch of hits. That's how I talked to you. And then I also ran into Paul from Tried and True, who's from the Delaware meta. And he kept saying, hey, you should come out and play in one of our steamrollers. I'm like, I can't really do that. I don't even have a 75-point list yet. So for months, I'm purchasing models, buying models, painting models, and I finally go out and play. And he's like, hey, you should meet up with this other guy named Ryan. And that's when I started talking with Ryan. And then we started, posting on Facebook. And basically, I want to look at it as like a harassment campaign where we're just constantly bombarding on Facebook. Hey, we're going to go play on this day. We're going to go play on this day. And eventually people started just messaging me, and I remember giving people a few rides and just, hey, like, doing the best that I can to just get the word out there, like, hey, we're still playing this game, come out and hang out with us, it's still a fun game. So that's pretty much how that started. Just communication was the key, right? Networking was the key, talking to those guys from Delaware, Erica, Andy, Dan, Paul. They pretty much helped me build this area as well. And every time we had an event, they came with their people and we came with our people. And it really just made it look bigger than it was. You know what I mean? Like, it drew attention from everywhere. People would just come and look. Like, hey, what is this? Oh my God, War Machine. I haven't seen that in years. I'm like, yeah, man, we're still playing. You should come out on Sundays and play with us. So that's basically how that started.
See, I think that's really nice too, right? Because like I want to say the biggest difference between when I tried to do this and with you, right? When I was doing it was a Mark II, right? It was the height, like War Machine was taking over, right? So it was almost easy. I went to a game store, and I just moved down there for college, and I think I spent a good month and a half just demoing the game out, right? And I knew
Mhm.
at least at the time, I was like, hey, War Machine was pretty hot out there. People liked it, they were curious, and for me, I just needed to get the most influential person to play the game and enjoy it, and I knew the rest would follow.
Right.
And that's kind of what we did before, right? But that was easy back then, right? The challenge with you is that everyone had already played War Machine before. A lot of people did, and they saw it just disappear, right? And there was a lot of negative press on it one way or
Yeah.
another, right? So did you ever deal with any challenges like that? I guess as you were trying to get people
Um,
excited again.
so in the beginning of my journey of playing War Machine, that actually happened quite often. I remember going to a store and I saw they had War Machine models there. And when I went to go buy them, they tried to talk me out of buying War Machine and joining 40K. And that really like ticked me off so much.
Mm.
That made me burn more to go, you know what? I'm definitely never going to touch this game. So thank you for that. And now out of spite, I just, anything that's GW, I'm like, nope, Don't care. I don't care how good it is. I don't want to touch it just because of that one interaction. And I know they were trying to help, but I think it was the wrong way to go about it. And also online, when you're on Facebook or you're in Discord, there are always people that are negative. Like, oh, it's a dying game. If you go on Reddit, oh, that game is so dead. It's really difficult to try to ignore those comments. And to be honest, I've never replied to any of them. I read them and I go to myself, I'll write something up, I'll read it, and then I'll delete it. I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth interacting with those people because if you give them the time of their day, they're just going to use that time to just be even more negative.
That's a really good point. I agree with you. Yeah, and a lot of those people, right? It's almost silly. I feel like when people do that because, like, dude, if you don't like this game, why are you still commenting on it, right? Why are you still on Warmachine Horde General if you don't play the game, right?
Yeah.
If you don't play the game, and like, because I was on Warmachine Horde General for a long time, right, where I wasn't playing the game, but it wasn't like I was posting anything negative because I was just curious,
Right.
right? In my mind, at some point, I knew I was going to come back to this game. I knew I would. This was kind of like similar to you. This was my first miniature model game I ever played, right? And actually, really similar to you, where I don't like steampunk usually. I really don't like that fantasy setting,
Mhm.
but something about Warmachine just really got me excited, right?
Right.
Like these steam powered jacks, the fact that like they weren't big enough where like I remember when I first saw them, I was like, oh, people ride in those. I'm like, no, dude, they're like autonomous in a way, right? They got like this
Yeah,
cortex thing that's their mind. Like that was so weird and cool. I loved it.
Let's
Um,
face it, you wanted to throw robots around.
I really did. I wanted to smash robots. Probably why even like that I bought a 40K army. I just played giant robots. I like robots. What can I say? They're also a lot easier to paint. No, but like that stuff was cool, right? And so I guess my question for you, right, is that hey man, Mark IV got announced July, right? What did that do to the community for you?
it's I think overall it's positive. Um, some of the guys, I think a majority of us looked at it and we all had kind of a knee-jerk reaction to it. But then, we sat down, we thought about it, we read the rules, and we thought to ourselves, you know what, this might not be as bad as we think it is. So overall, I'd say our group is incredibly excited for it. But the guys that I came into with so far, they're looking to get out. And it bothers me a little bit, but I'm giving them space, giving them time to, vent all that anger. And then I'm hoping in a month or two that they're willing to come back and at least give it a shot and see that it may be still the game that they're looking to play.
That's awesome. I'm really hoping like for them, right, that they're going to be able to want to go and play again. Like I at least played with one of them before, and I loved talking to them. I thought they were an awesome person. So
Right.
Hey,
really hoping they can come back.
thanks to Iron Shepherd for subscribing to the channel.
Woohoo! Thanks, Iron Shepherd.
Yeah, I know who that is. Thanks, man. So another thing too, though, is that while we had, so on September 10th, we tried and true, or the Delaware meta and the Maryland meta, we held the Slushy Scuffle. It was a team event, very casual, but it was a lot of fun. It was very successful, and it drew in a lot of eyes. I I actually had to step away just so I can talk to a bunch of dudes that were like really interested in you know talking about Mark IV. It was awesome. So I'm hoping to see those guys again. We're having an open play this Sunday. I'm hoping to see some recurring faces, or at least try to recruit people to our cause.
Yeah. I think that'll be fun. It's a weird spot to be in because, like I said, right, we're a month away from Mark IV going live, right? And I'm assuming that rules will go up hopefully the week before, right, or the week of. Which exciting for us is that our podcast, the way how it falls, it'll be on the 26th, so 2 days before Mark IV is officially live. So hopefully we have information we could talk live about it.
Mhm.
But if not, it's fine. Private to your press, hint, please. That'd be great. Either way, right? We're gonna get our boxes that weekend.
Okay.
The next time we're
Hold on.
we're jumping on.
Hold on.
What?
Privateer Press is not watching this. You can put that delusion away.
No, I mean just in general. I want them just to live announce. I'm hoping that app goes live like the week beforehand or something, right? Or like rules go live with the official. I know the boxes are getting released on that Friday. I'm really hoping the beginning of the week like is when we actually get like rules and stuff like that, and then we can wait for the boxes to come out. Like that'll be exciting. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. Right? Like I'm trying to remember every other release, right? Mark III was different because they released it at lock and load. And I remember waiting in line for that and then staying up all night playing Mark III games.
Oh wow,
Oh, dude, it was so much
that
fun.
sounds exciting.
Lock and load was like the pinnacle of, I think, us as a group going and playing that. That was super fun. And then Mark II, I can't remember how that released. I think it just all the rules became available online for free. But I don't know. That was obviously a long, long time ago. So I'm hoping, right, something like that is similar there, right? So when we get on for that Wednesday chat on the 26th, like we have some more fun stuff to talk about, and we kind of decide on what we're gonna do as a group, right? That's what I'm hoping. Obviously, like I'm still at a 10 out of 10. Kevin, where are you at right now? Current state?
I'd probably still put me at that 4. Like
Mm.
I need something to bite into. Like I'm really looking for those primes so I can look at what I can play for trolls and stuff like that. But as cool as the models look, I'm currently not excited about the 2 current factions. I need something to be excited about.
Yeah,
And that's fair. And I think that goes into like the rebuilding the community hype, right? Is that, back in July we got, hey, these are the beta rules and these are 2 sample armies of what they're probably going to look like, right? And we really haven't gotten anything from there. We got some really cool previews, so we know what marks are coming out. And we've got a little bit of information about that. But I'm we're gonna get to a point where we're in a weird state where we're a month away from the game coming out on Mark IV. Some groups are still trying to decide, are they gonna stay Mark III, or are they gonna go to Mark IV, or are they just gonna walk away from the game altogether? And trying to get that stuff out even earlier is just gonna help with rebuilding communities, right? Like, even whenever they come out with these rules in November, they said it's not the official release, right? So stuff could potentially change from that time frame to January. I think January is when the official rules go live, right? Am I remembering that correctly on the timeline?
yeah, I believe that's the intent. Yeah,
Yeah. So that's
the
why they
same
even. What were you saying, Sam?
same with the application, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be beta as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be beta as well. I think they're coming out with fluff though, right in the very beginning, which is nice.
Are they?
Yeah, I thought they said when the app first released, they're gonna come out their first little bit of fluff,
Oh, I wasn't
which
aware of that.
which will be nice. I'm excited to kind of read a little bit more about what's going on. But I think for us to get to the rebuilding community part, because whether you loved Mark III or not, right? A lot of people stepped away from the game during Mark III. There could have been a plethora of reasons. I know my personal thing was, right, I had moved around a bunch of times. I was working overnight for a long time, so it was really hard to get out. And then almost right after I stopped working overnight, we started having kids, so it was really hard to get out, right? So that's kind of why I stepped away from the game for a while.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then our gaming group, Advanced Maneuvers, we all lived in Virginia, and then we all kind of spread out a little bit. There's still that core group there, but a lot of other of us just kind of spread away, which made it hard to play. Other reasons, people could have left was, just they didn't like the community that much anymore. They didn't like the rules, but like coming back with Mark IV, it's so different and exciting. I just want to see more of it. Like that's kind of where like I see where you're at with Kevin, right? Like Kevin, you're on the fence because it's you haven't seen anything yet, right? We've only seen rules for 2 armies that like not as much people are playing, right? Or our group is not playing that much, and then we've seen a couple of battle box models. We haven't seen anything else. Like we got to get that prime stuff out.
Yeah, and I mean, so I'm going to take a half second to say thanks, Stephen Parker, for subscribing to the channel. But going back to the very first podcast that we had when we were talking about Mark IV, it's also a matter of community. The Delaware crew's got their community, and it sounds like Sam's got the community out of Critical. I lack that. I mean, I
Right.
could drive up to Critical. I could take the hour and a half to 2 hours to go do that, or the 3 hours to go to the Delaware crew. But that's not going to allow weekly gaming.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and something I hope that we can address here is what do you do in an environment to build a community when either, I wouldn't say there isn't one, but the current community is very hesitant into jumping to Mark IV or downright resistant due to, bad feelings or bad taste in their mouth from Mark III.
Yeah. That's difficult to overcome. I guess the only way that's going to happen is needing a champion to go out there and be that positive force. Like you basically you need a Tony. You need Tony to go out there and be that positive force. But That's hard to come by, right?
If Tony could go out, that's the big thing. Tony needs to actually leave his house.
Yeah, well, I mean, obligations.
It's
It's
true.
difficult for me too, and that's why you need a team.
Kevin, I wonder, right? Like, is it Huzzah or Fairfax Gaming, right? They have a War Machine community there. Have you talked to them at all? Do you know what's going on with them?
So I think a lot of them, because a lot of them are actually sitting on WTC teams, they're not
That's
having conversations about four because they're trying to keep their head into mental game for WTC.
it's
Yeah,
true.
that makes sense.
Marcy's a big one, right? Like I talked to her at one point, and they had said, hey, like once WTC is done, then I'll actually take a look at it. I think even with Matt McWaters, when we talked to him earlier, he said the same thing as, hey, we got to get through WTC, and then I'll focus on Mark IV. And then if I like it, it's great. If not, oh well. But that's pretty
That's
fair.
fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. It's not going to be easy, but
Yeah.
I think the guidance for building a community isn't different from Mark III to Mark IV. Sam, like you said, you've got to have a champion, you got to have somebody to lead, and if there isn't somebody stepping up, then the old advice back in 3 and Mark II was, if somebody doesn't step up, then you need to step up.
yeah, and that's not easy to do. It takes a lot of work, and sometimes it can feel demotivating. It can be demoralizing at times, but sometimes you just have to, put your head up and get rid of that negativity, get that out of your head because you have to be that positive person when someone else is. It's okay to have constructive criticism, but it's another thing to just be, you know, pure negativity for no reason. And sometimes you have to be that force to be like, hey, you need to stop that because you're getting yourself into this mindset that's just going to keep going into the same thing. And then you're going to become an echo chamber and you're going to be with that group that's just doing this thing. And now you're stuck in this idea that it's going to be negativity. You can't have that all the time.
Hmm.
So you got to find those like-minded individuals and you got to help bring the other ones out.
So Sam, I got a hypothetical question for you, right? So you're kind of between you and Ryan, right? You guys are really kind of leading the War Machine meta for Maryland now, right? Especially the Northern Maryland area. What are your plans on doing if the group kind of splits between Mark III and Mark IV?
I don't know. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't even thought about that. It's I really don't know what I would do about it. I'd guess I'd try to play both sides. Be like,
Yeah.
hey, I guess this week we're gonna do this, and then the following week we'll do this, and try to be that compromise.
Which
Okay.
scenario is worse for a community? Having individuals who are resistant to 4 and only want to play 3, or having individuals who leave the community altogether?
I mean, I feel right, obviously, like right, the ones who leave community altogether is so much worse, right? Because now you have people that liked the game at one point, they left, they're gonna have a bitter taste about it, right? So they might be more negative. They want to stay in Mark III, then at least you have a group of people that's still playing War Machine.
Uh, See, I disagree. I think it's better that they leave, and I think it's worse that if you have a community that stays and plays Mark III, because whenever you have a new player come and they want to check out Mark IV, now they have this extra barrier to playing Mark IV because they're going to be like, no, we're only playing Mark III. So now that community is lost. Whereas if that person left, yeah, you're losing a person. However, you guys are still playing Mark IV. You're still bringing in new blood.
That's a really good point. Kevin, what do you think?
Um, I mean, on one hand, making sure that the community is focused and as a leader of the community, you can guide them in a certain direction. That's good. On the other hand, if you've got 20 people in your group, 12 of them want to stay on Mark III, that's going to cause division. But then at the same time, if those 12 lead, or if those 12 leave, visually your group shrinks drastically.
Yeah.
And a lot of new blood is attracted to large groups of people having fun, not 2 or 3 people having fun.
Yeah, because it's gonna go back to right where like they want to invest their money in something that they're gonna get continued push out of, right? Like if they know people are gonna show up to this every single week, that's what's gonna get them more encouraged to go spend the money. So I don't know. That's like almost like a lose-lose situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about the perception, really, to be honest, because even though we go to Crit Hit and they sell a majority of GW games, I don't see anyone playing 40K. Maybe once, maybe one or two people. I see a majority of those players playing Blood Bowl.
Mm.
They have an entire wall full of all this 40K and it doesn't look like it ever moves, but then they have all this Blood Bowl stuff that moves. And then you have all this MCP stuff that's there, yet they're struggling to build that community. And I dare say that our Warmachine players are the largest crowd so far. Every
That's
time I
pretty
go,
awesome.
I see it all the time.
Now, would you say that is an exception to the norm, or do you think that there's a lot of communities out there in the world that are of a similar, majority of the store?
So um, I can only speak from my experience, but I think that same situation also happened in Delaware, where a majority of their players were War Machine, and all those 40K guys are gone, and that's how they took over those other areas. Now that can just be us, in our meta, but when I go online and I'm in these groups, I see a majority of these people always asking for games. Hey, looking for a game this week to play 40K, 2,000 points. Never see a response. And then when I go into the store, you don't see those people. Same thing with MCP. It's this huge, large game, but I never see anyone actually playing it. I think the perception is the marketing, right? They're selling all these models, but how many are actually playing in our area? I don't know. It's the same thing for Bel Air Games. You go over there, I don't see anybody playing. They're playing majority of Magic the Gathering and they're playing D&D and Pathfinder. I don't see 40K. Where are all these players at that supposedly are trumping us?
Yeah, and that's interesting, right? I've looked at crit hits. I don't know if I see a 40K day, right? Like War Machine's been pretty established. You guys push out the 40K, the War Machine every other day, every other Sunday. Jesus, I can't talk right now.
Yeah.
MCP, I kind of started seeing stuff, but I really don't see 40K itself, right? I see tournaments going all the time throughout our whole
Right.
area
Yeah. You
between
would have to
Northern
keep streaming and
Virginia
all
to
that.
Maryland. Yeah. And I wonder if that's what it is, right? Like going back to even the question I was going to ask about, right, is that tournaments I feel like really drive a lot of participation, but is that something that everyone really wants? Like I know back in the heyday, right, we had a steamroller every single month. Every month we were in a steamroller no matter what. We did different types of steamrollers. We would do hardcore. We'd do a food machine come November so we can get cans. We did an October version of it for breast cancer. We did all these different things, but I don't see it as much now, right? And is that really something the community even wants? I mean, I think for 40K probably, right? Because we went to a tournament, Kevin, what was it, a couple months ago down in Virginia, and they had a table for 64 people.
Wow.
It 32 tables, I think it was.
Yep.
So, and it was
That's
freaking
pretty good.
massive. But like I don't think we could ever I'd never seen a War Machine, tournament turn out that big. It'd be
Yeah.
awesome if we could.
Well,
Maybe at like conventions.
and I think it may be a situation where we wouldn't get attendance like that in a War Machine community right out day one of Mark
No.
4.
It's going to
But
take time.
it's something that could
Yeah.
be built up to it. The height of War Machine was not built on the back of day one Mark 1. It didn't even make it until Mark 2, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, and will tournaments be a part of that? Yes, absolutely. But anybody who's ever been in the tabletop gaming arena for any amount of time knows that the survivability of a game is built on the backs of its casual players, not its tournament
Yeah.
players.
And I wonder if there's a balance between that too, right? Because I consider myself a very casual player. I kind of always have, but I loved going to tournaments because it was a great way to go in, test out different lists, go and see, meet new people, all that stuff, right? Like I lived going to conventions just to go play Warmachine, right? Like, a lot of people go to convention. I would spend like, one day going in and walking the halls, but I would always try to go and play Warmachine because that's how you go and meet new people and that's how you develop all these like close friendships, stuff like that. And
Right.
I feel like tournaments were great.
Socialization.
Yeah, and I feel like tournaments were a great way to go and do that. That was kind of a weird side tangent. Sorry. Yeah, no, but I'm curious with at least with Mark IV what that next evolution is going to be because tried and true, the Delaware meta, they go and do tournaments. I want to say every month, correct?
They do it every other month. I believe their next steamroller is October 29th.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's that Saturday the 29th, which is cool because it's right after Mark IV. I was debating about going to it, but I'm not so sure now because I might be building and putting together models.
Oh,
It's
somebody,
also Halloween weekend.
somebody pull out the duck call. He's already ducking.
Yeah. Yeah, of course I'm already ducking. That's my MO, right? Like I already told Sam, hey, I'm gonna try to come on Sunday, but I might not be able to make it.
No, I get it.
I know, I'm terrible. No, but like I'm curious, right? Is that like once Mark IV comes out, right? Like how and this can be a question I'm gonna pose later on for anyone watching this, right? I'll pose it again later on, but like what are you gonna do to try to rebuild the community in your area, right? Like what do you want to do to see Warmachine thrive? Because I think that Mark IV is a great jumping off point, a whole new fresh start. It's a whole new world, right? If you want to be Aladdin and Jasmine, a whole new world.
Hmm.
Like what are you gonna do to try to get your community going again and thriving? So
I think you just got to show up and play,
Yeah,
build that casual audience. I feel like Privateer Press needs to help us with this as well, right? Like we need more narrative stuff. It helps to, not everyone wants to play a game and win. Some people like to play the game and still have fun losing. And I'm not one of those people, but I know many people that way. So we need that casual aspect of the game to come in so that it'll bring those players in.
it's a really good point with building communities, right? Is that we've talked about like, hey, what the narrative play is. You know, Kevin, what are your thoughts on narrative play? You got any ideas on anything?
uh,
Putting them on the spot, huh?
sure. I
I
mean,
mean, like just
let's.
in general, right?
Yeah,
Like we've talked before, right? Is like, hey, like a great way to get the community going is narrative play, right? Like I think like even way back in the day, I don't know if it was you part of that conversation, Kevin, but we were looking at I think it was called Mordheim, not Mordheim.
Oh yeah, I think it is Mordheim. That's a
yeah, it's
GW
Mordheim.
game.
It's a GW, right? Like, what if there's a version of that with like Warmachine, right? We could go build like war bands and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, if stuff like that could be something that could be implemented. I know they tried to do it with like version of Company of Iron, and it really didn't work out. But like, I don't know, like Kevin, like, do you think if like having some type of narrative play, do you think that would get you excited about playing?
Me? No. Um,
That's fair.
and so, but here's the thing: is that I don't disagree that it is a potential solution for a lot of communities. I am not going to be the standard player because I'm going to be looking for the steamroller. I'm going to be looking for the convention. My modo operandi when it comes to playing is I play weekly, daily games with friends to try and perfect lists to prepare for steamrollers.
Hmm.
And then my practice at steamrollers is to refine my list to prepare for conventions, and that's in any game I play. But
Okay.
that doesn't mean that I'm void of participant in the concept of narrative. So, like when Pokey and I play, we will sit down and play a steamroller game with a steamroller list to prepare for a tournament. But we're joking back and forth about how his bronze back is in hot mating season, and that's why I countercharged my Trollkin Mauler and just beat it maliciously into the ground. Like we put a spin to it. We can I think most people who play the game will naturally put themselves into the perspective of the Warcaster on the table as a representation of them, and that by even the
Hmm.
smallest venue is a recognition of narrative. But I wouldn't necessarily say that narrative gaming is what is going to keep me in the game. It's a it's an added element to playing the game. But like Iron Shepherd mentions that there are a few Facebook posts on Mark IV demo days that are a good way to get gamers interested for new players. I think
Yeah, and I get
kid,
Mythicos had an event as well.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think those type of things would probably pull in a player like me more. We want to see the game being played. We want to, if I'm brand new to it, I'm going to struggle learning the game, let alone trying to learn the game and the lore at the same time. But again, that doesn't mean that it won't work. It just won't work for a person like me. Where it will work for a person like Pokey, who absolutely loves the narrative and cannot, it just eats it up everywhere he goes.
That's true, yeah. Like I want a good mix, right? Like that's what I want to do is, and I can't pronounce your screen name. So Jay is talking about, like, he lives up in Norfolk, right? Norfolk, Virginia. Huron, yeah. I'm terrible at pronunciation of things. He's talking about, hey, like, look, like, full organized play is going to be launching February of 2023, which is huge, right? That's going to be really nice. Seeing what they have is going to be really important, right? Are they going to keep with pins? Are they going to do coins again? Like, what is going to be the big thing, right? Oh, and it looks like that they're also going to be down in. I'll do the shout out then for Norfolk, Virginia. They're going to be running a 50-point Mark IV steamroller, beta steamroller on Sunday, December 11th. So you can either go down to Norfolk to go play, or you can come up to PAX Unplugged to go play the week before, or you can do both, right? Do a Saturday, the 3rd, then drive down to Norfolk and go do another tournament on the 11th. That'll be really nice, right? And that's actually what goes back to, it's interesting that you're doing a 50-point as well. Because I wonder if that's going to be, at least those first couple months, it's probably what's going to be the standard, right? Is that, hey, we're going to see 52-point tournaments, because the nice thing about them is they're going to be fast, right?
Well, not only
Running,
that too, but the expansion pack doesn't release till February or something.
yeah, I think the first, yeah, you're right. The first expansion packs are January or February. And you're only going to have 3 of those armies, right? So people are going to want to play the new. Dusk isn't releasing until April. We're not sure what's going to release after that. We know Horde's going to come sometime in December. Sorry, not December, August. So, like, you're looking at all of that stuff, right? Like 50-point will probably be a pretty good standard. And honestly, I like it for conventions, because back when we talked with Matt before, 75-point steamrollers are really hard, right? You go multiple rounds, right? You're going to try to go 4 rounds at a convention, and then you're gonna have to do that multiple days. And these are 2 hours minimum, not even including like, setup and setup for the list and everything, talking
Right.
about what list you're gonna choose, all that stuff. So you're really looking like 2.5 to 3 hours for just one game. That's a long time. If 50 points are going to be as fast as I think they are, that's going to cut that time down in half, right? So we're probably looking at like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I know for PAX Unplugged, right? If we can get 32 players, that's going to be a 5-round tournament, and we're hoping to finish that in like 9 hours with a lunch in there, right? Which I think is probably doable with a 50-point tournament. I'm curious if that's gonna. I'm kind of hoping the community leans towards that, just because it's gonna be quicker for convention play. But I also see us going towards that 75 or 100 point. So, and
Yeah.
that's gonna be another thing, right? Is in your communities, what are we gonna be doing for that?
Yeah, I wonder where it's gonna fall at the end. Probably 75 to 100. I'm excited to see too, because like right now when you play a 75-point game, even on an open play day, you'd maybe get 2 games throughout the whole day.
Yeah.
But the Mark IV, from what I understand, it's like 45 minutes per side, so that's what, about 90 minutes worth of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? We'll
And
see.
that's if both you guys are going down to the clock, which you might,
Right.
I like to
No,
play
I probably
fast
won't.
and
'Cause
loose and just get my caster killed or kill their caster.
same here.
Run
You know?
forward, dump your focus, turn around.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, turning around doesn't matter anymore.
You're right. Does not matter at all now. They can charge you with their butt.
That's legal.
Yes.
So,
So
so I want to ask, the two of you are community builders. Sam, it sounds like you've been working on the critical hits community, and Tony, you built, nurtured, and bloomed the Fredericksburg community a long, long time ago when you were a much younger man, you old fogey. Um,
So long ago.
if I was, I'm a listener, I'm out there right now, I'm watching this stream, or I'm catching the VOD later. What are the three things, and I don't want either of you repeating somebody else's, what are
Oh
the
no.
three things that are necessities for either building a brand new Mark IV community or, and more importantly, bringing back individuals who left the game to build back? Because I think a lot of people out there right now are looking at this going, this is the second coming of Warmachine. We're gonna be as big and as bad as we were in Mark II, and I legitimately think there is potential there, but it's gonna only be done on the blood, sweat, and tears of the community builders. So, what are the three things that the community builder needs to do to either start a brand new community from scratch or bring back people to the community?
You want to go first, Tony?
You're the guest. You can go first unless you want,
Okay.
you want more time to think.
Nope. I've got some off the top of my head. So
Cool.
I think number one, the most important thing is to be amiable, right? You need to be approachable. You need to be that friendly face that people can go like, oh yeah, that person's really nice, right? I have no problem getting giving people rides. Like, hey, you want to come and play, but you don't have a ride? Hit me up. I will come pick you up. Do you not have an army to play with? Hey, I got this second set right here. You can come borrow mine. Second is communication. You got to be out there communicating with the people. What do you want to do? How do you like to play? Because you have to, at the end of the day, make sure that they're having fun and that they want to come back. If they don't have fun, they're just wasting their money, they're wasting their time, and it's going to be aggravating and frustrating, and they're going to find something else to do. So, those are the first two things that I can come up with. Third, I think, is consistency, right? If you're there 1 week and they had so much fun, and then the second week or the third week, you're not there anymore, no one's there. Well, what happened? It's just that simple. So amiability, communication, and consistency.
I like that. That's really good. So the first thing I would do is going back to like my old days, right? Is my first thing is I want to get the buy-in of the store, right? I think it's really important where if the store is bought in to say, hey, look, I'm not asking you to sell the product, but I really want you to give me time and space to go and run these games, right? And that's gonna fall into having a consistent night, like what you said, right?
Mhm.
Set a date. Hey, look, for you guys, right? It's every other Sunday, right? When we used to play in Fredericksburg, it was every Thursday we would play. No, sorry, it was every Wednesday. My fault. It was Warmachine Wednesday we would play, right? Really easy to remember. W's Wednesday, Warmachine Wednesday. Every Wednesday would go and show up and play, no matter what. I even scheduled my games and my work around to where I would not have to work or have any school classes on Wednesday night so I can make sure we go play. But that goes back to getting the store owner to buy in to at least allow the game to flourish.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, if you can go in, if we go place orders, we go get them, right? Will you make sure that we have at least a couple tables open, stuff like that? So that's the first thing I think, getting the buy-in, right? The other thing I would say is the second part would be is identifying key players in your meta. If you are new to a meta, it's a lot harder to do. But if you've been around that store for a long time, identifying those key people that have a lot of sway in the community. If you can get them interested to play the game, at least try it, and they have fun with it, they're going to be the ones that are going to go spread the word to go get other people in, because those people are in a position of not a authority, but they have the ability to sway people,
Right. The
because they're
persuade.
whoever those individuals are, right? They've kind of been self-appointed, not self-appointed, but the community has grown around them, right? So where those people go, other people will follow. So I think if you get one, the store owner involved, two, if you go find your kind of biggest fish and get them involved, those are the two big things. And the third thing is, right, is just fun, right? You gotta have fun. I know the old like prior to, PG trick we used to do is, hey, whenever a person played a demo game, you made sure the game was really close, but you always made sure that the opponent won, right? Because you feel good when you get that win. And if you can cultivate in a way where it's really close, where it comes down to those dice rolls, and that person gets hooked into it, man, it hooks somebody, right? And that goes back to then afterwards, you go have fun, right? Then you talk about the game, you talk it up, go show them the book afterwards, right? Like having that product there is going to be really helpful. And it even goes into like talking about like, with fully painted armies, playing with 3D terrain again, man. When we went to 2D terrain for, measuring stuff out, it was great, but for that vibe, it's just awful. Like if you go, we went to PAX, not PAX, but if you went to like Nova Open, you saw the Warmachine tables, they were bland, right? It was all 2D. It was really well done in the sense that you could play a lot of games, right? And you could be very accurate, but it was not pretty at all. But if you went to Lord of the Rings or even 40K, everything's 3D. It's a beautiful looking table. That's going to pull people in more. No one wants to play a miniature model game on a 2D map. They want to have actual stuff there. And I think that's going to pull more people in. So I guess going back to it, right? Let me just break it down, right? Is one, get the store owner involved. Number two is going to be find that biggest fish, get them involved and get them to have fun. And three is having 3D terrain. Honestly, I would say 3D terrain and fully painted armies. That's going to get people excited about the game. For me, I absolutely hate painting models. I truly do. But I know how important it is to go and get people into the game.
Yeah, and it looks like both, Huron and Iron Shepherd are in agreement that, Iron Shepherd basically summed it up in 3. Consistency is huge.
Yeah, and like, Sam's earlier point, right? They made a very conscious decision to say, hey, we're going to play every other week, right? First it was the first it was the second and fourth week of the month. And then they switched it to the first and the third week. And they did that so that they can then also work with the Delaware meta so they could have more crossover, right? So that was a really good move to do that, right? But they still kept it very consistent and they communicated constantly, right? There's always posts going up on the Maryland groups, all of that stuff. On the Discord, I mean, they created Discord to make it easier, right, to talk to people. It's very, very consistent that, hey, look, this is what we play. And if there's going to be an outage, kind of Sam or Ryan, make sure they communicate that, like, hey, I can't be here this week. And someone go get the form, the like bin and all that stuff so we can make sure we bring it so we can still have that game going.
Right.
And even to the point, right, where our the store owner, right before, he was like, hey, I don't want really any interest in Warmachine. He's taking pre-orders for us, and he actually went ahead and pre-ordered stuff before anyone even came in, right? I remember when I went to go place my order for my Stormblaze, and he's like, oh yeah, I already got enough set up to where, like, if people had came a little bit later and wanted, like, we'll have stuff on the shelf. So it feels like that's a huge change from years ago.
And it's funny too, because when we first started, we didn't have that many people, right? It was like 4 people. And then all of a sudden, every other week, we've got like 12, 14, 15 people, to the point where he reached out to me and he was like, hey, you guys need to message me before you come to play because I need to make sure I have enough tables for everyone. Like that's how
awesome.
consistently we were getting people to come. So but Ryan and I consciously made it every other week because we weren't sure if we can both commit to going out to play every week, and we wanted to make sure that we were set for success and not failure. And that's why it's bi-weekly. Who knows, maybe in the future it might be weekly, but that's something we need to talk about first.
Yeah. And Hara brought this up, and I'm a firm believer of this as well. I think for Mark IV, I think as a community, it's going to be painful, but I think we need to get away from 2D terrain. I like the idea of 2.5D, right?
Yeah, I
and
love
the fact that you have you have the 3D terrain, and then when it really needs to get down to measuring, you pull it off and there's a 2D terrain underneath it. I think we have to as a group, which really sucks because a lot of people invest money. I went and bought a bunch of 2D terrain, right? But like we have to, and it's a lot easier to travel with 2D terrain. It's so much. You can throw it all in a backpack, right? But for the game to keep thriving, we have to go to 3D terrain. It looks better. It looks so much better with how unit movement is now, and the fact that the facing's not the same. It just pushes towards that narrative that 3D is the way to go.
Yeah, we've had one of our members he started making craters, and I'm like really excited. I started building a mausoleum. We're working on it.
Yeah, like even for when we do PAX Unplugged, right? I'm gonna be talking PAX Unplugged a lot, everyone, the next couple months. Y'all better be prepared. Um, we are looking at having all 16 tables set up for 3D terrain, and I think at least 7 or 8 of the tables are gonna be all themed. Paul, one of the guys and up there, is really passionate about doing that. He's been helping a lot, talking about, hey, like this is what we can do for this, we can do for that, to make sure that we have nice visual terrain and it looks good to capture people. So we're even, right? We're gonna run this tournament. I'm going to have a 2x2 table set up on the side to run demos. People come by and like, hey, what's this game? Like, hey, come on, why don't you come over here? I'll show you a demo, right? I'll need to get another battle box set up, which I'm sure I can borrow from somebody, right? But like we're gonna try to run demos as well while we're there to build the community up to get people excited about this game again.
So, and one of the things that you were just mentioning about 2D terrain's really easy and precision for movement and all that stuff. 2D terrain is great for competitive players, not casual players.
Right.
And as I mentioned earlier, games live or die on the backs of the casual players, not the competitive players. So there's proven evident that what you're saying is 100% right. Like we need the 3D terrain, or at a minimum the 2.5 terrain.
Yeah. Oh, hurrah! Just to answer your question, PAX Unplugged is going to be it's in Philly, Pennsylvania. It is December 2nd through the 4th, but on December 3rd, we're going to be hosting a 32-person Mark IV Prime 50-point list tournament. So, first one we're going to try to do. Hopefully, it's going to be really big. It's between advanced maneuvers and tried and true. We are pushing really hard to go and get it going. Really excited about it. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
talking about it constantly.
I'm looking to see if I can make it. The problem is my wife's birthday is the 6th, so
That's fine. That's 3 days away.
Hey.
I say that, but I mean, I take off the whole month of February pretty much because between my kid and my wife's birthday, I'm like, nope, cannot schedule anything because I need to make sure I'm there for that. So I totally get it, Kevin. But yeah, no. I mean, we're hoping that it works out really well, right? Obviously, we convinced them to give us 32 spots. Again, it's building that community, right? We're trying to push that hype for it, to try to get people excited again about Warmachine and get involved in Mark IV. So, yeah,
Yeah, I think the community is ready for it.
I think so too. Um, so we got a couple minutes left. I know we didn't have a ton of stuff on the topic with building community, but hopefully we answered a lot of stuff. I guess we can wrap up with final thoughts. So, Kevin, would you like to go first? What are your final thoughts?
I really don't have any final thoughts. I mean, I like beyond the fact of, dear God, Private Press, release the rules. I want to play Mark IV. Damn it, not the beta, actual Mark IV. Um, but I'm more interested in hearing from Sam. Like just from the perspective of you're a community organizer. What are your plans? What are you doing? Like how are we getting people excited?
That's still a work in progress. I'm I've been writing some casual scenarios to try to bring in some more casual games in. I've written up two so far, but it's just basic outlines. I want to get with my buddy Ryan, and I want to try to do some more steamrollers, but not competitively, more casual, like just a quick 3 round game. No real first place type thing, just something to play. And then on top of that, maybe try to do a narrative campaign where, at the end of it, something happens. Whoever reigns supreme, you get this special thing. But it's just a work in progress right now. I haven't really gotten a chance to sit down and actually write anything. But right now, my focus is trying to get more players to come in and have fun, because I think a majority of our players are more on the casual side.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm a more competitive player, but I also don't have a problem feeling the room out and be like, okay, this person's not competitive. I'm going to play this list and just have fun. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Just try to get people excited to come and play. Because a lot of the stories that I've heard from, I guess, old players that played Mark II, they left because they got their face stomped in and they didn't have fun. And I really want to let people know, like, that is not who we are. We don't play that way. We're here to have fun. We're not going to stomp your face in. That just drives people away. Not everybody's competitive in nature. No one thinks that way. They just want to play a game, roll dice, and have fun. So leave the steamrollers to the competitive players. Let's try to get more campaigns in, get more casuals in. I want to try to do like a paint night, terrain night, but I just haven't gotten to that because I have family and obligations. It's hard to get away right now, but it's in the works. I'm going to talk to buddies and try to get that started soon.
You were mentioning about narrative campaigns, and I just remembered the Oblivion games were actually really fun. Like the games.
I bought it, have not got a chance to play it yet.
It's one of those situations where they don't really have a lot of replayability to it, but they were like the kind of the bastard child of a steamroller scenario with a narrative spin on it.
Gotcha.
Hold on, wait. Which one was that? I was reading another comment.
It's the Infernal one.
Yeah, the Oblivion campaign.
Oh, I wanted to play through that so bad because I thought it was such a cool idea.
I bought it. Haven't had a chance to really look at it. The Hermit is sitting right here on my desk right now.
Oh, the Hermit. Probably won't even be used again.
That's okay. To be honest, I don't really mind.
Yeah, there's some stuff there that was goofy before. I had something on my nose and I would watch the video. It looks like I was not picking my nose. If anyone asks, sorry. I had a itch.
Yeah, you can paint your Hermit up, and every time you play, you can just set him on a hill off to the side, and he's scrolling and dictating what's happening in the battle.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, so I guess my final thoughts are I'm just excited, right? I'm super pumped for what's going to come out, right? I really want to see more of the army coming out. I'm really, really excited about what the future of Warmachine is going to be. I, for one, am beyond pumped with everything. I know at least that if I can't get out, I'm gonna try to play on War Table more, so I can at least get that exposure and start playing more. But yeah, I am beyond excited. I cannot wait for the future of what's gonna happen with the Warmachine.
Look, I've told this man numerous times. He lives down the street from me. Bring those kids and play in my basement. I don't want to hear it.
I know. I think it literally lived 5 minutes away from you.
Sam,
I'm pretty positive it's maybe 5 minutes at most.
Sam, I have driven to his house, armies in hand, walked into his house, and we still haven't played games.
Oh my gosh.
I don't like.
No comment.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna get better at it. Okay. We played last time, Kevin. We definitely played.
Yes.
But yeah, no, there's definitely been times where people have shown up and be like, hey, there's not a number of people I just won't play. You guys can go play each other. And I'll just go around and talk. I like to talk to people.
He's a talker.
There's a lot of pressure in losing.
It's okay.
I don't like it.
We all lose. I don't think I've won a game yet.
You definitely won a game against me when I went to your house. Stomped me in. I was playing my Convergence.
That was by accident.
That was not by accident. You definitely full on just whipped me. I had to go lick my wounds for months from that.
Oh yeah, that's why you haven't showed up.
That's true. That's like the sole reason why I was like, screw this guy. Never coming back again. No, but all right, everyone. With that being said, right, a question for the community, right? So what are you going to do to help rebuild your community? I think that's pretty simple. Kevin, you got anything else?
No. Be good to each other. Be excellent.
Be good. Perfect. All right, everyone. Well, thank you all very much for coming to another episode of Turn Extension. We will see you in 2 weeks. Have a good one.